right, welcome back, everyone. We are here with another vodcast. Phoenix is currently not at the moment, so I will kick us off here. We're
I'm
gonna
here.
be,
They haven't managed to get rid of me yet.
man. There we go. Okay, well we're back, and this is going to be, if I recall correctly, yep, yeah, Mundolicious versus Clout 7. So Mundolicious was actually champions of Demacia Division last season in a rather impressive 4-1 victory. And Clout 7, that's another former, was another team in that same division. They had it a bit rough, but looks like they've come back and are stronger than ever. So it'll be interesting to see how former Demacia champions stack up
Yeah,
in
because
this.
this season they've moved up the Noxian division. They tried to serve me a pink slip. They tried to tell me that you're not a real cat. They tried to tell me you don't actually work here. But it turns out I can't read, so I have no idea what they're talking about. So we're here to bring you a Noxian division game, Mundolicious Cloud 7, as my co-caster mentioned. Looking at the rosters, Cloud 7 has Coach Tommy in the top lane, JRob49 in jungle, Mad Hacker in mid, Vortex 1287 ADC, and Sarthal in support. Mundolicious has Hyares in top, Cheryl's in jungle, Sixshu in mid, Oila Polina in ADC, and Rio of the Wildfire in support.
Yeah, so of those, Clout 7's only two real returning players are actually Sarthal and Vortex. So the bot lane is pretty much staying together, and then they're
I
pretty
believe
much
Oila
changed it.
Polina mght be the only returning player from Mundolicious. I think some of the players from Mundolicious stayed in Demacian Division, and Oil Polina came up to Noxia. Um, but I've actually, my team had the chance to scrim Mundolicious, so I'm excited to see their first match, see how they do on the live stage, because they talk about teams in LCS being like, oh, this team's a scrim monster, or this team doesn't show very much in scrims. But the fact is that what happens in practice will never exactly replicate what it's like to play live, because aside from things like the nerves, you can't always predict what someone's going to do in a live game versus doing in a script. I mean, I got bushwhacked once by a Nico Top from Ansem because he'd been practicing it exclusively in custom games in the training mode, so it didn't show up on his OPGG. But I'm excited to see what both teams bring out and see what we see with this game. I'm told that we don't have pro drafts for this game, so as we get into it, we're just going to talk about the drafts in play. Masagi!
All right, yeah, we're loading up here. Let's just get that taken care of. So we're starting off here with Aatrox, Zac, uh, Diana, Sivir, and Senna on the side of Cloud 7. And that's going to be Orin, J4, Fizz, MF, Leona for the side of Mundolicious.
So the thing that immediately grabs me is Oila Polina's Misfortune. It was a champion he played extremely effectively in the Demacian finals. Misfortune actually had a 100% win rate in the Demacian finals. So the 4 games that were played, she was picked in 3 of them and won every time. I believe it was twice for Mundolicious and once for their opponents, which
Yeah.
was Aggressive Enchanters. Um,
Hi, I was their support.
so looking at Keystones, I think both teams are like the posturing around the Zac, but both teams are really kind of classic hard engaged team comps. We see a lot of these like Aatrox, Team Fighter, big AoE. Zac, Initiator, Diana, Diver. Sivir does a really good job supporting and enabling engaged champs with their ultimate on the hunt. Ornn and J4 bring tremendous damage potential. Fizz for backline diving, and then the Misfortune and Leona CC and damage over the top. One thing that I think is interesting, because the Keystones and runes look mostly normal, is the summoner spell choice in bot lane. Uh, Mundolicious is running both an exhaust and an ignite. There's no heal on the misfortune, and she's taking press the attack, which suggests that she is going to be going for uh, the more conventional auto attack focus build, as opposed to a lethality sort of caster build. And Vortex has taken the cleanse with barrier on the Senna, and I understand that like Senna is vulnerable to being jumped on. Oh, we have a level 2 gank here. Rio coming right off a red buff.
Yeah, doesn't get the knockup though, and yeah, Diana gets to walk away from that one. So,
Yep.
kind of pointing this about the Senna. Speaking of, and this is so there's massive levels of disparity between how people say you should play Senna. In this case, Sarthal is taking the fleet footwork on Senna, so that's going more for the lane sustain and the precision like attack speed boosts more than the other option you'll sometimes see for Senna, which is lethality with Glacial, which is the Senna that sits there in lane and just slows you down, and there's
And
nothing you can do to
harasses.
escape from it because the moment you get hit, and she has some ridiculous range,
Mm-hmm.
you can't move, you can't escape.
I've seen that build a lot. I find I typically go lethal tempo with Legend Bloodline the on the Sivir. Could we check her runes and see what she's got? But I'm just wondering if she has double life steal. You hit the little window next to her stat item. A little arrow. Oh, next. All right, we're good.
There it is. There we go. If the directed camera, please. Right.
Yeah.
There we go. So yeah.
So she took double life steal, so she doesn't have any bonus attack speed. Jarvan's
Yeah,
going in.
speaking of, there's some engage going down in bot lane. Goes on to the Senna, which is fine. She's the one who's exposed. They do trade it back though, and as far as health bars are concerned, in a 2 versus 3, that's about what you want.
Yeah, because no, like Rio's doing a good job here of, like he's gonna be stronger early than the Zac. Jarvan really only needs level 2 to gank, so he goes for a level 2 gank. Jarvan's got pretty good early clears, and he recognizes that Zac's early game's a little weaker, so he wants to put out a lot of pressure early.
Bit of trade going in here. Ooh, Ornn gets pulled back. Not quite able to dash out of it, but still not too much there. Just a fun little trade in top lane, and yeah, getting pushed in, but he's an Ornn. You expect that a little bit. Fizz
Yeah, he'll
hops
be
out.
fine.
There's the pole. There's the troll, and there's a lot of damage.
Diana's running very low on mana, even with her D ring, so she did not take teleport, but she may be in danger here of being caught without the ability to fight.
Yeah, Misfortune goes for some poke, but she gets some hurt as well. Leona doesn't look like they got level 2 first. So here's one of the things with Leona lanes. She is very dependent upon getting her levels first. So if she doesn't have that, or if she just can't use it, then Leona has a real rough time in lane. As Aatrox trades really excellently into Ornn, and Ornn is now very low. That's a Jarvan coming in from behind. That is a very low Senna.
The spell shield's down for Sivir, and that's first blood.
Yeah, Sivir goes down, not Senna. My mistake there. Senna is able to walk out just fine.
They bait the spell shield with the Leona engage, and then she doesn't have any way to get out of the Jarvan engage because she doesn't have her spell shield. I feel like the best play there. Oh,
Ooh, that's a good stun down. Flash is forced. There we go. Not quite enough damage yet.
The
Not enough
piercing
follow up there.
shadow self heal is enough to keep Sarthal alive.
Yeah, Flash is however down. Cleanse wasn't burned during that gank at all, by the way, onto Sivir.
That's the thing. I think what you would have needed to do was cleanse the Leona stun and then spell shield the Jarvan engage. Yes. Excuse me, folks. Sorry about that.
Had to resync for a moment there.
Yep. Looking at the itemization, I'm not a fan of the catalyst here from Ornn because that's going to build into Abyssal, which is a huge Ornn item. Like, you want it eventually, but Sunfire is also really good on Ornn. It's one of his best upgrades. And the fact is that Catalyst, like, there are ways to get around the mana need, but you're going to need armor, and you're going to want to build towards Sunfire to deal with the Aatrox, who's the physical damage threat you're actually facing. And if you really need a mana, just build like one Sapphire Crystal, and that'll be fine, because you don't actually get much of a mana increase by completing the Catalyst. All you get is the Mana Health Eternity passive.
Yep, which
Oh,
there's a quick engage. Doesn't want to continue that trade. Ornn does actually have quite a bit of damage with his brittle procs, so
yeah, I think he was out of. He didn't have enough mana to do a full combo with ult there, but that could
ooh,
have been a kill.
Fizz goes in, but Diana does become an Orianna Ball. Fizz ult misses, so Diana does come out on the positive side of that trade. Looks like a flash was burned from Jarvan.
Yeah,
So
the Jarvan EQ combo is off the mark, so they don't get the knockup, and then the Fizz ult actually misses at point blank range. But that doesn't miss.
yeah,
They're going on to Senna.
yeah, she dies. That ult does come down as well, so or no, it's burned there.
Yeah, so Aatrox is pushing Ornn in, which is pretty common. Like, Ornn's a strong top laner, but uh, Aatrox is also very good early. He doesn't have mana, so he has built-in sustain, so he can just kind of stick around however long he wants to. And only if you get him really low can you force him back. But Mundolicious is playing for this dragon here. Zach's in the area. Zach, meanwhile, has been just farming and not ganking, and as a result, he's about 15 CS up and a level up on the Jarvan. So he's actually, he doesn't go for the steal, but I think he probably could have. Like, jump in there, hit the let's bounce, disrupt the Jarvan enough that he doesn't, that he isn't able to smite it, and then flash out. Or even blast cone in, ult, and then try to elastic slingshot out.
Yeah, and there's still very real chance that he does lose his life in that situation, though. It would
That's
have
true.
been kind of 3v1. So I think that's what he was more concerned about, is handing them over more kills. Because yes, it's a Drake, but again, in this version of a Summoner's Rift, Drake buffs are much weaker than they used to be. So handing
Yeah,
over Ocean Drake isn't as bad as it could be. It's not handing over Ocean Soul, which is basically a game-ending scenario.
to be honest, I preferred the old Ocean Drake because
Speaking of ganks, though, there's the elastic slingshot in. Misfortune is incredibly low. She is trying to run away, but gets bounced on by the Zac, and Leona's able to walk away.
I didn't quite catch it, but I believe they used the Senna Cloud to hide
Yep.
to hide the Zac, which is a very good use of that ability.
And
To
for those
conceal
that
how
don't
many
know,
people are there.
Senna's Shroud effectively masks the identity of any champion who's inside of it, as long as they're not auto-attacking. It also gives her a movement speed increase.
Well, it doesn't
So,
just hide their identity; it hides that they're there. If they
yeah,
leave, they appear to be like a ghoul, and you
a,
can't
a
tell who they
wraith.
are. Yeah,
Yeah,
Wraith. Yeah, but while they're in there, you don't even see them at all.
yeah,
Um,
and they also cannot be selected on or clicked. So that's a way. That's a way to avoid certain like point and click CCs, is by having Senna just shroud everyone in.
I'm so glad we got rid of True Stealth, but it's back. Uh, so it is going to be the lethality Senna, even though she's going, even though she went fleet footwork. So still
Yeah,
building for that damage and poke.
yeah. However, she is building for the sustain, which is what the fleet is there for. That's a good engage on Jarvan's part. I don't think he actually has the damage.
Yeah, I'm
Fizz
not sure.
isn't there
Yeah,
to help it out.
he went Cinder Hulk, so he's able to like get a chunk of damage, but he doesn't have lethal damage, and Fizz wasn't in a position to follow up.
Yeah, unfortunately. So a little bit of a overzealous engage there in the long run, but it does. I mean,
It
it does
relieves the
put pressure
pressure
on
on
her.
Cheryls. Yeah, like sometimes, and this is something to learn. When you're new to jungle, it can feel like if a gank isn't a kill, that it's a failure. But the fact is that a gank, I mean, even if you burn sums, that can be good. And sometimes a gank just to relieve pressure is important. Like just to be like, hey, I'm here. You can't bully my laner as much, or else I might gank you. Can be good because it can force a laner who's ahead to play back some and give your ally some breathing room.
Yeah, speaking of breathing room, Aatrox doing just fine here, but look who's here. Ornhorn comes out,
Oh,
but
but it misses
misses
the
the
redirect.
ram. Oh, that's real sad days for you. Aatrox goes in again. He may be able to actually get lethal onto Ornn here. even with Jarvan there, but looks like he's not going to really
Yeah,
try it here.
his cooldowns have been exhausted, so I don't think he's in a position. But they could try for a regank.
Okay, flash burned on Sivir's part there, as Misfortune ult does go down. That is the ignite. It's not going to be lethal, but it's going to be pretty close. That's a lot of pressure being forced on that bottom lane now.
Yeah, so Oil Polina has about a 26 CS lead now. So
Well, and a BF sword as well. That's the scarier part. Like,
yeah, so it's a pretty significant lead in the bot lane for Mundolicious. Hyaris is down 20 CS, but like he's Ornn. Like you don't need him to win lane. You just need him to like not be too far behind, and he'll do his job in team fights just as well. So I think they're perfectly okay with the Ornn just kind of being under tower, catching some farm. He's lost a plate, but that's not that much.
and nowhere near as bad as what the bot lane's lost for Clout 7 here. And also, by the way, due to that pressure gank, Fizz survived. That ult completely missed because Fizz went up. Playful and Trickster. Ooh. Hate that ability, by the way.
Yeah, so
So
and we
much.
can see here, like, Mad Hacker is ahead, has even on CS, but has a kill, but...
That's a good Fizz ult. Isn't enough, though. There's, like, no damage. But she had... Yeah, there you go. Flash is now forced to burn.
Yep.
So a couple ults for Flash. You'll take that trade every time.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
As, Fizz doesn't have damage at the moment, but he can still just be an annoying little fish thing.
I'm not sure I like the Seekers here from Fizz, just because it's like, I mean, yes, Zhonya's is very good on Fizz. There are 3 physical damage threats in the other team, but you're not, at this point, you're more concerned about the Diana. I feel like going into Proto Belt, or now he's starting on Lichbane, which are core items for Fizz, or even just getting a No Magic Mantle and being like, I'm going to get Banshees later, would have helped him a little more in lane, because Diana doesn't care that much about armor.
And Diana is building tankier as well, by the way. This is not, the instant delete Diana. This is the Diana that's going to sit there in the middle of your lane.
With Conqueror and be a bit more of a sustained damage threat.
Yeah, which, there we go. There goes the Rift Herald down. That's going to be mid-destroyed for Cloud 7. So, yep. Yeah, first brick goes down. That's an excellent use of that objective. It now forces what could be a very potentially devastating laner back, because the last thing anyone wants is a Fizz getting ahead.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good engage there onto Senna, but there's no one to back her up, so Leona's kind of alone.
I don't know if she needs a barrier there, but she probably didn't know what reinforcements were coming.
Yeah, that is Cloud Drake going down, so it looks like we're going to be seeing Mountain Rift again. So this is actually a benefit for anybody who has dashes with Mountain Rift, because how it sets it up, it does make it a little harder to move around the rift sometimes.
I'd say it's also a buff to all the engagers, because the advantage is that, they're going to try to...
Less vision. There we go. Diana does get knocked up. Fizz is going to burn down, but he's going to playful Trickster his way out. The Senna ult comes up. Fizz does get the kill onto Diana. Aatrox is chasing him down. Aatrox will get the kill. It is now just Ornn left. Dodges out of Aatrox 1. Flashes out of Aatrox hit 2. Hit 3 is potentially devastating here. They're not going to go for it, because here is Jarvan to say hello. That's a lot of damage that comes down. There is Leona as well to join the fight up here. Aatrox is getting slowly burned down. He gets burned down by the Jarvan. Zac is not very big here. He actually gets slowly burned down by a Leona. And this will be a kill. Yep, there we go. There goes the shutdown onto the Ornn.
Which is good. He kind of needed that money, so...
It's like normally you're not wanting your tank to get the gold, but when you have an Ornn gold, oh boy.
Yeah, and that was like, you could see that like the Aatrox was like, okay, look, it's an Ornn, he's low, it's a full tank Jarvan, I can fight this. But Zac is already out of cooldown, like Slingshot's down, I believe Zolt was down, and so like he doesn't really want to keep going, and they're just split up on what their goals are in the fight. Zac did just full buy Gargoyle's Stone Plate. So during the engage, he will be incredibly tanky and have a massive amount of health. However, he still doesn't have boots. Yeah, no boots, so not really able to get in there. Also, during that fight, bottom lane was forced out, so Misfortune and Leona do take first try in bot lane. That unlocks a potentially dangerous duo, because we still keep in mind we have a Jarvan and Ornn and Leona.
if all three of those get onto one team fight, Misfortune literally just gets to sit there laughing maniacally as
she
her
channels
R is
bullet
just,
time. Yeah.
yeah, like that's not a fun situation if you're a squishy champion. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Even Sivir cannot stop that engage from happening.
Yeah, so I did actually something did occur to me that one reason for the Zhonya's Hourglass out of Fizz maybe because it is an upgradable Ornn item, and the other two upgradable Ornn items are Death Cap, which Fizz is typically going to build either late or if he's really fed, and Luden's Echo, which Fizz usually doesn't build. So it's always better to have any upgraded Ornn item than none, even if it's not always like the best choice. Like, yes, Deathcap is the best Ornn upgrade for an AP champ, but if you're not going to build Deathcap, it's better to have the Zhonya's upgrade at least uh, than to have no upgrade, because it's just like free stats you're missing out on. So they
Yeah, a
have
little tanky
rotated
there.
Oil Polina and Zixu up to mid. It's the classic. Your bot lane takes their tower, they come mid and take that tower, and then they go top and take that tower. And before you know it, all three towers in the first row are gone.
Yep, Ornn is getting battered still here. So Aatrox is still plenty strong. He is a very, very strong champion
He takes a
when he gets his trades.
yeah, and to be fair, Ornn takes a pretty good trade there. Ornn should be pretty close to his Sunfire cape at this point.
And once
Which
that comes into play, he has the Immolate passive now, but with
yeah,
Sunfire in play, it's going to be a lot worse for Aatrox to keep going and trading in like that.
and yeah,
Fizz
because it's
decides to go in, but this Diana just has so much HP. And, oh,
he's
there we
already
go.
playing
There's
Playful
the ball.
Trickery.
That's a lot of damage. There's the Ignite. And yeah, she gets to follow him down.
The problem there is Cheryl's burns the Playful Trickster too early, and Mad Hacker's just like, okay, your defensive tool's down, I'm gonna ult now.
And, yep, gets to go back. That's going to be another kill down. And it's a 2-1-1 Diana with 130 CS, 135 CS. Like, she's pretty good right now. She's feeling all
Yeah,
right.
she's strong at this point. Yeah, so Ornn does have his Sunfire. He's not high enough level to upgrade it and get the Forge Fire cape yet. He needs to be
He
level.
just does that, actually. So now he has Forge Fire.
Yeah, because he just ticked to 13, and it's at level 13 when you get the when you get your own upgrades.
So there we go. Now he's definitely in a better position to fight Aatrox. Forge Fire Cape is absolutely ridiculous for the value of the item.
You get
So
325 gold out of it. Like, just instantaneously. Not gold. 325 health and 30 armor. The instant it upgrades. Like, you basically get most of another item.
okay, this is actually a teleport burn, by the way, in the bottom lane. So
Ornn
goes right on in. Yep, he's alone.
A little deep.
It goes a little deep there, so probably a bit too overeager on that engage. And that is going to be, like, the 4 versus 4 is still fairly favored towards Mundolicious at this point.
So Mad Hacker does go down. They've killed off the Diana.
Yep, and they kill off the Zac as well. So Jarvan dies, but Misfortune is going crazy on them in the as they drive by them. That's a freaking quadra kill, I think.
It looks like just a triple. I think one of the kills went to Fizz.
Yeah, it looks like,
or maybe to Jarvan.
Yeah, one of the kills definitely went down there. However, the only one left alive is Aatrox, who is going to be pushing towards that tier 2 top.
Yes,
so they're trading.
He does take
big
that
fight
tower.
and dragon for a tower. But that big dragon is going to be absolutely insane on a couple of their engaging champions, like the Jarvan, like the Ornn. Even Fizz likes that a little bit, and Leona obviously loves having extra resists.
And notably, this is a team that scales well off of resist. Jarvan's shield scales off of his health, and resists are very effective when you have a shield because they make it harder for the enemy to burn through the shield. Leona's bonus resist from her W scale off of her resist, so more resist from the Earth Drag mean that she gets more resist from her W. Ornn gets increased resist as well from his passive, and his E deals more damage based off his resists. So the front line from Mundolicious really likes having those bonus resists. Zac still doesn't have boots. He's building Knight's Vow, but, like, I mean, I know Goo feet are probably a little hard to fit into shoes, but, like, I think they make shoes big enough for Zac.
Yeah, they probably do. And at the very least, you can just, like, take, like, a hose or something and just right in, right? Just
Yeah,
pump
yeah.
his feet into the boot.
Yeah. Like galoshes. Like I feel like if it's kind of like the old question of if a dog wore pants, how would he wear it? Like what would Zach wear for shoes? And I feel like he'd wear galoshes. That seems like the sort of thing he would wear. Also, I just
Yeah.
like saying galosh. I'm gonna be honest here, folks. I'm a simple
Okay,
man
there
with
we
simple
go. That's a
tastes.
pretty good engage down onto Diana. She can't get out of the situation, so she decides to go in instead. But she's not able to kill Miss Fortune despite her massive burst, and Miss
Yeah,
Fortune
that's
just
really close for Oya Polina. To be honest, if Diana has her completed death cap there, she probably does trade for the misfortune.
yeah, but she dies, doesn't get her death cap, and Miss Fortune instead is at 2 items with a 450 bounty on her, and that's a mid turret down. So
They are
pretty good trade. Here comes the Ornhorn,
they're gonna try to catch
and the
Zach.
CC train continues.
Yep, they stun him
As
out of the elastic slingshot channel.
So he actually decides to go back in with his Let's Bounce. Doesn't really do much. Aatrox trying to cover for the side. That's a pretty good catch there for Leona, and she's just so freaking
Zach is
tanky.
interrupted.
Yep. They're still going through this. That's going to
Railgun
be
comes
the
out.
Senna ult that comes down. Aatrox is now in the back. Leona dies. Oh, Leona dies to the Aatrox, and Ornn and Miss Fortune are just walking out here. Fizz is in the back line. He does potentially have enough damage here to do something, and he looks like it is the case as Miss Fortune gets shut down. Sivir dies to Fizz.
Zach's about to come up though, and Fizz dodges the root, but he's still gonna go down.
Yeah, he is gonna die here, and
Hyaris needs to bail. I don't know if he may not have a way out here unless
no, he doesn't. He's dead now, probably. Yep. He's ludicrously tanky, so it will take a long time, but he will eventually die.
Maybe?
There you go.
Yeah,
He
there we
finally
go.
dies. Took a long time. Literally 2 other team members respawned in the time that it took to kill Ornn. But overall, 1 fight for Clout 7. Gold is pretty close.
Yeah, small, about 1,000 gold lead. Notably, I think they do a really good job in the fight of controlling the Zac. Leona holds her stun until Zac starts channeling Elastic Slingshot to run, so she stuns him out of it. And then when Zac goes back in after using his ult, Jarvan EQs him out of his jump. So Zac's not really doing a lot in that fight, but they've been pincered by the Aatrox, and they're caught in a tight corridor made tighter by the fact that it's a Mountain Soul. And Aatrox, as a champion with a lot of AoE damage, is really good against people who are clustered up because it's hard for them to dodge all of his damage from the Darkened Blade, which also increases his healing. So he just gets to, easily pick up. The Jarvan goes down to the Railgun from Senna. Aatrox is able to easily pick up a kill on the Leona, who's low and caught out, gets the reset on his ult, and then is able to chase down. Zac goes into his passive, and instead of finishing him off, they try to kill the Aatrox. Catch on the Zac here.
Yeah, doesn't really look like he has a way to jump out. There we go. He has to flash instead, but yeah, Ornhorn does. Yeah, Ornhorn does actually get him just in time as Miss Fortune picks up the kill, and they pick up the Raptors as well.
So they're it looks like they're just gonna set up for Dragon here with the good pick on Zac, making it easy. So they're going to take, I believe, their 3rd drag of the game.
Yeah, 3rd drag of the game. This will be Soul Point when this comes up. So
Gonna try to steal the red buff away first.
They succeed in stealing the red buff away from the looks of it. It goes on to the Misfortune, which is exactly where you want that, because yeah, scary, scary AD champion, the ability to just auto you down. That's a death bush. Yep, there you go.
Diana, be careful.
Yep, does get.
There we go.
So a little bit of damage here from Senna, or actually a lot of damage from Senna.
That is a massive amount of damage from the Diana. They do claim the kill, but they've caught the Aatrox here potentially, but he just Umbral dashes out.
Yeah, Aatrox goes out. They go out as well. Mountain Drake doesn't do a lot of damage, so it's going to get burned down here pretty quickly, and there's really nothing they can do to try and stop it, other than actually, okay, so Leona's just going to go in and murder Aatrox. That's a good stun down.
Very low.
He does actually die, so Fizz picks up the kill. Bullet time is going to ensure that Zac goes down. Senna does pick up the kill onto Draven, so she does still do plenty of damage, even with this weird lethality build she's going for.
Yeah, Jarvan dies, but to be honest, he's a Cinderhulk Cleaver Jarvan. he's an initiate. Like he kind of he's okay with dying because he kind of expects to. Like he's there to start fights, shred armor, and absorb damage. And as Sky Williams once said, if the tank is doing his job right, when we're pushing, he should probably be dead. So he goes in, gets the initiation, and he trades his life for it. But that's the kind of trade you'll make every time for initiator. And Zach still does not have boots.
Yep. And by the way, we are 5 minutes away from potential Drake Soul, which will make the Jarvan even more terrifying as he goes in with a big freaking shield.
Yes, and he's working on his what do you call it? His gargoyle stone plate. So he will be really tanky once he completes that item.
So that, yep. Orin, by the way, also has he has his Sunfire, but he also has picked up a Bramble Vest in the meantime. So Sivir and Senna are actually killing themselves upon his rock hard abs.
And just always good to have versus an Aatrox and other characters who are gonna rely on a lot of healing, like Zach. Notably, Ornn has started to deliver his upgrades. He's given the Molten Edge to Misfortune. Next would be either the Zhonya's Hourglass, Zhonya's Paradox for Fizz, or the Obsidian Cleaver for Jarvan. I think I'd probably upgrade the Cleaver first, just because I think that Jarvan is going to get more out of it than Fizz will out of having an upgraded Zhonya's.
Yeah, you kind of want to delay Fizz's upgrade for long enough for him to actually get his big hat, because
that's true. And if he's working on Death Cap, you want to just delay it for that if you can. Because Jarvan's the extra health from the Obsidian Cleaver will further magnify the effectiveness of his Cinderhulk and his shield. Leona's the only one who doesn't really have an item that can be upgraded now. Probably a Locket if the game goes long enough would be a good choice.
Yeah, by the way, a lot of damage going down here, and Aatrox is actually killing himself upon everyone else as he goes down.
The fadeaway ignite?
Not enough. No, it is enough. It is. Yeah, that's right. Ignite scaling, so that actually is enough to kill Senna, who has the HP of a cannon minion at this point in the game.
So, and especially because there was actually nothing in range for her to Q, so she couldn't even try to heal herself. So yeah,
just enough there as its last kick goes through.
Lane.
And there's really not much they can do to stop it, even with Sivir's excellent wave clear. So, speaking of, despite this is a great position for Mundolicious, there is still technically a win condition, however, for Clout 7.
Which is stall the game long enough for Sivir to get like 3 items.
Get Sivir to 300 CS. Yeah, and you pretty much win. Like, it's a meme, but it's also true. You know, when Sivir has full item build, she's basically unstoppable.
She is, unless she gets caught, because her range is pretty short. But she's still a ways away from that. Still working on her second item compared to the 3-item Misfortune Oil Polina. Oil Polina is again showing why this is one of his most played champions. And most of he's just not even DPSing Baron. I'm not sure if he's... okay, there he goes. Maybe there was a slight disconnect.
Looks like there may have been, but just waiting. Looks like they're waiting more or less at this point.
Yeah,
they do get the Baron. They actually, I think that's what they really were waiting for, is waiting for them to try to engage on that Baron.
Yes, they were like, all right, do it slowly and see if we can bait someone in. Aatrox is split pushing in the bot lane. He's got a wave built up, so he may be able to threaten this tower, but with the Baron empowered recall and the extra home guard that it gives you, he's not going to be able to get it. I'm not sure he's going to get much damage on the tower there.
I mean, yeah, Fizz is going to pick that one up. Looks like Misfortune Leona waiting on Fountain for a couple of items here.
So Ornn did upgrade the Zhonya's Paradox, the Zhonya's Hourglass for Fizz, which normally I would agree and try to wait for Death Cap if at all possible. However, in this case, I think it kind of makes sense in that there's a reasonable expectation now that the game will be over before he could complete Death Cap. You have Baron, you're pushing here to get Mountain Soul and potentially end. Like, it's sometimes better to be like,
speaking of Soul up in 10 seconds, so this will have to be a fight here. Like, Cloud 7 has to fight this, like, or they're down a massive disadvantage there. Yeah, now, Mountain Soul isn't as game-ending as like Ocean Soul or Infernal Soul can be, but it's still pretty rough to try a team fight into that, especially when you're a Sivir who's kind of who just got her second item. and everyone else as well, because you're not burning through those shields very easily. That's a lot of damage going down
Ornal's
onto the
coming out.
tank.
They're gonna try to
Yep, there
catch
we
someone.
go.
Siver's caught out.
She doesn't. She does manage to spell shield, and does manage to get away by burning cleanse and flash.
Diana's
So
forced to flash on the backside.
Diana's, yeah, she's probably caught here. Yeah, she's caught out. She can't escape this. She tries to go in to do some extra damage.
That's a big wombo combo.
Does get the shutdown onto Misfortune though. But yeah, Hyoris picks up a kill, and Fizz actually double kills.
He heals. I think he has Triumph. So, yeah, the Ornn is not actually going down.
No, but Fizz is dealing consistent damage, and that's a lot of damage now. So the Fizz is alive, and it's a quadra kill.
The
Goes over to the Fishman.
Are just too tanky on the side of Mundolicious. The double Mountain Soul, the gold lead, the tanks on Mundolicious' side take so long to die, and
also just a little, like just a tiny little bit of extra health regen, by the way, for the freaking Ocean Drake too. So, like it probably doesn't matter, but like this is a lot of stuff to try to kill into it, and that is going to be now it's at 612, 18% extra magic armor and extra armor and magic resistance. Magic armor. What is this, D&D? Nope. This is a nightmare scenario here. This is the DM's playing hard mode right now, and
they are epic level on the side of Mundolicious, and it's gonna be really hard for Clout 7 to try to. I think this is probably, given that this is game 1, this is probably where you're like, okay guys, what do we do different in game 2? And I feel like I think swapping the Senna for something is probably a start here, because Sivir isn't really capable. Like, the problem with Sivir, she kind of needs a lot from her support because she doesn't have CC. She's good at being safe, but she needs someone to help set up her damage. I would have liked to see, if not another, just a different support here, someone that could maybe peel for the Sivir or help the Diana and the Zac go in with more CC to lay down. Because I feel like the Sen is getting caught out a lot, and that's making it hard for their front line to fight because they don't have the heals they'd be expecting from Senna.
Yeah. By the way, Ornn has like an extra 400 health shield.
Yeah, that math.
That is the power of Ocean. That's the power of Mountain Soul right there.
The power of Pine Soul. So notably, Ornn has not finished his second upgradable item yet. He hasn't finished his Abyssal Mask. It looks like he's working on Warmogs, but I suspect this is a case where the game may end before then. So
yeah, especially with just how ridiculously far ahead they are. Now, even if the game doesn't end off this next Baron, as Baron is worn off here, it is likely to end when Elder pops up. Because, like, especially under these conditions, if they somehow cannot end in the next 5 minutes, between Baron and Elder, it's like that is a game-ending scenario, and it's very hard right now for Clout 7 to actually contest those.
And they're not going to win the fight at Elder because of the Mountain Soul Shield, which is the issue. Let's see.
All lanes are pushing out here, so Mundolicious looks like they're not quite setting up just yet for any one objective, although they'll probably start focusing on Baron here in a couple of seconds.
I think that's
they
probably
are pushing
the play,
top lane.
because Aatrox has decent wave clear, and notably Sivir's wave clear is very, very good. And so the problem is that it's hard to crack a Sivir held base if you don't have Baron. So I would expect them to look to make the play with Baron and then end using that.
And Baron up in 20 seconds here, so they are now getting vision control of that red side. There is a little bit of a Fnatic death rush going in. Okay, I understand that bootsless Zac had a 100% win rate last season, but come on, guys.
You need boots.
There we go. The Baron comes up, and Cloud 7, by the way, has no way of seeing this, so they're just going to try to push it in here. Zac looks like he's moving up now to check.
Yeah, so he should know that they're doing it, given that the placement of the ward is there, but he's no way to get in there in time to steal it, so that's an easy Baron for Mundolicious.
Baron for tower is the best trade they're going to get, but Aatrox is going to be smart and back off.
Yep.
Because it looks like they're going to take this cannon wave, and they're just not going. They're going to relentlessly slam it into that turret until it breaks.
Yep, and because they have the Mountain Shield and 2 tanks in the Jarvan and the Leona, they can actually have Jarvan and Leona tank the tower to keep the minions alive and make sure the tower doesn't have the backdoor protections. But they're gonna clear up the bot side jungle, and it looks like they're going to push through bot lane, which I think is a little interesting because there are no towers left outside the base. But generally, if you're going to push for an inhib, all things being equal, the inhib on the opposite side of the next objective is best. So, given that your next objective is Elder, I would go for the top tower, the top inhib, because that forces someone to stay top to clear it and delays them getting to a potential Elder fight. Most likely, it forces Aatrox to be top so that he can clear it and then teleport into Elder. But they are going to push in mid now. They've got a cannon.
Yeah, they're actually. I think what they were doing there was they were trying to set the waves up so they could actually crash 2 waves at the same time.
Mm.
Which looks like that's about what they're trying to do here. But the wave clear is coming through. Aatrox, however, is getting plenty of alone time. Or not Aatrox, but Orange getting plenty of alone time there as he escorts the wave down.
Yeah, and it takes 2 to help kill it because Sivir has amazing wave clear, but it's still going to struggle somewhat into the damage reduction that that Baron creeps get. Though the wave clear is really strong. Like, I think Mundolicious has to pull a trigger here. They have to recognize that between Sivir and Diana and Senna, like we're not going to just like crash the wave in and force them to give up tower, even though we're up 8.5k gold. We have to dive them and engage them under the turret in order to get it.
Elder is up in 30 seconds, so one thing they could be doing here is waiting.
Yeah, I think at this point it's too late because if you get caught now, you give up Elder. Like if Jarvan dies, and that's likely given how aggressively he needs to play, they lose the Elder Dragon. So they're going into bot jungle probably to set up vision, look for some picks. Sivir's out of mana, so she's going to need to go back to the fountain to refill. Essence Reaver won't do enough at this point to refill time. But
Zac is alone, and he does get stunned down, so he's gonna pop into passive here.
Might have been able to dodge that if he had boots.
Yeah.
But that's a good pick on J-Rob, and so that's
gonna be Elder too.
Yeah,
because there's no way, like once your jungler is down, especially when your jungler is Zac, and you know the rest of your team can barely step up. Like when your jungler is your tank, you don't have anyone who can go in there and step up.
Yeah, the only other one who could try to frontline is Aatrox, but he's not tanky enough to like soak the whole team's damage.
And Leona is going to go on the other side here to make sure that Aatrox can't do anything. Ornhorn comes out. Ornhorn goes the wrong direction, but that doesn't matter as Aatrox is being burned down by Ignite.
Cheryl's oh, I realized I was wrong. Zixu is the support and Rio the Wildfire is the jungle. I misspoke earlier. So they do secure the Elder Dragon. This should be a
that is game mid, pretty much. Like they can now dive however they want, and there's nothing that can be done about it.
And Zac doesn't even have passive to where he could try to be like, okay, guys, I'll frontline, and we like kill 1 or 2 of them maybe, because he'll just get executed.
Yeah, the Baron buff has worn off, so it's not going to be as strong as a push, but you know they can just dive. And yeah, see, just opportunistic misfortune ult there just to see if you can pop it.
Mm-hmm. To be honest, that got Senna low enough that she was almost in range of getting executed. All right, so they're gonna fight.
Execute does, however, go down right away as Diana goes in and explodes, and then this is the final fight here. Zac doing whatever he can, but he explodes as well. Fizz on the back line. Senna's too far away. Literally fountain Fizz.
And that
for that final kill, and then the Nexus goes down.
That is game 1 to Mundolicious. I think that it was a little more. It was competitive in the early game, but their team fight CC was just so strong in the mid game and late game that, like, the Senna got caught a lot by the Leona engage. Fizz, the lane was a little rough for Fizz, but Diana's a pretty strong early champion since her mini rework, so he still got plenty of kills in team fights later on. And then Ornn and Jarvan did Ornn and Jarvan things, and it was just like very cleanly done. It was a relatively straightforward team comp, but it was well put together and well executed by Mundolicious. So it is perhaps boilerplate League of Legends, but it works pretty well, and that's why it's the standard. So we're gonna take a quick break, get set up for game 2, and we'll see you back here in a moment. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TTU Phoenix's ASMR channel. Welcome back. We are getting set up for match 2 of Mundolicious versus Clout. I am TTU Phoenix. My co-caster will be back in a few minutes, but in order to make sure that we stay on time and that we are ready, because we do have a live game coming up after this one, we're just gonna plow ahead, and he's gonna try to jump onto this train, perhaps a taco train, while it's in motion. So so Mundolicious won game 1 in a pretty solid victory, I believe. I think they really put on a good show of what classic team fight oriented League of Legends is. They had Ornn, Jarvan, Fizz, Misfortune, and Leona, and they're just like, hey, we've got a lot of hard CC. We've got a lot of AoE damage. What if we just took this peanut butter and chocolate and we kind of put it together? And they discovered Reese's Cups, and it worked. So, we're getting set up for game 2. The two teams will have switched sides. Mundolicious was red side for game 1, so they'll be blue side for game 2, and vice versa on the side of Clout 7. So, we don't have a pro draft. I'll be discussing picks and bans as we get into the game, but I think that, to me, some of the things that Clout 7 probably needs to look at is the Ornn, because Aatrox was bullying the Ornn in lane, but not by much. He had a small CS lead, little bit of farm lead. We are setting up for the games. There we go. Okay, so throw that out the window. High-Race did, in fact, receive the Ornn again. Reel of the Wildfire is on the Zac this time. Clout 7. So they've exchanged junglers. This time, Clout 7 decides they want the Jarvan, and Mundolicious takes the Zac. They have Misfortune in the bot lane again, but this time Zixu is on the Janna. A little more supporty, a little less hard engage. A lot less hard engage, really, compared to a Leona. And Charles is on the Victor. We have the Vladimir and Aphelios and Rakan for the mid and bot. And we have Poppy in the top lane for Coach Tommy. I do like the Poppy pick. She is a good lane matchup into Ornn, because Ornn really depends on his dashes to really fully trade. His E into the pillar charge. His ult redirect is also a dash. And so Poppy's W blocks both of them. So if she just hangs around Ornn and presses W, he can't do his full initiation combo. And even if she's farther away, it's pretty predictable from the Ornn ult where he's going to be, because it always comes right towards him. So if you're at a distance, you just channel your Keeper's Verdict, whack him with it, and then he still doesn't get the initiation. So that's a really good pick in lane. Her percent damage allows her to match up evenly into Ornn, and she'll also be able to really deny him the engages in team fights. Both of the mids this game, I don't expect to see as much action. We saw a lot of attempted fights in game 1 because they were on 2 assassins in Diana and Fizz, but this game they're on 2 scaling mages in the Vladimir and the Victor, so it'll probably just be a bit more poke oriented. Give me 1 second just to adjust something. And there we go. All right, taking my finger off the push to talk button. So, looks like Zac did start bot side. Both junglers did. Jarvan has gone blue to Gromp into red buff. So he'll be on the top side. As a trade comes in, Oyapalina gets hit by the Grand Entrance. The Moonshot into the Severum auto for first blood. It does go over to Sarthal, not Vortex, but it's an early kill on Oyapalina. And notably, Oyapalina again took Exhaust instead of Ignite. Sorry, instead of Heal. So he didn't have the heal as an option to try to save himself there, and because the damage came out of Aphelios, who was out of range for the exhaust, he wasn't even able to use that. And Sarthal didn't even have to use his ignite there. So just a quick clean first blood for Clout 7. Vlad's see, so Jarvan has now cleared most of his top side. He's doing the top scuttle. Zac has now gotten himself up to top side. His clear is slower than Jarvan's. He's doing his blue buff, so he's about a camp behind Jarvan. But Jarvan chooses not to invade. He's just going to go back into his jungle and choose to get his raptors instead. Both junglers have burned both their potions, so it looks like both are electing to take a more farm-oriented approach. To their first clear rather than looking for heavy ganks. And I think to some degree that makes sense. The mids are both fine. You don't really need to worry about them. So we get a trade down top lane. Poppy gets the wall stun, and the percent damage from the hammer shock takes a chunk out of Ornn. Ornn does have all 3 of his corrupting potion charges though, so he'll be fine to stay in lane for quite a while. He's gonna build something. I'm gonna guess a ruby crystal here. Yep, there we go. So Jarvan is now pathing into bot. He will double scuttle the Zac. Zac has fully cleared his jungle at 24 camps, each jungle camp being worth 4 CS. But Jarvan will now be at 32, having gotten both scuttles, which gives him a pretty significant advantage in terms of gold and XP. Hyrace waits out the steadfast presence well, but he's not able to get the brittle auto and is stunned here. He's going to take a lot of damage. Wait, that's a Conqueror Ornn. I did not notice that coming in. So that's unexpected. The aftershock on Poppy is fine. I personally like Grasp, but good gank in the bot lane. Grand entrance.
Vortex dies bot, or Vortex Vortex dies bot. Misfortune gonna get traded, however, by the Jarvan, and gonna be some real quick, a lot of damage here. Vladimir and Victor, double V matchup. It doesn't matter.
Polina is just caught out. It's gonna get slapped down by J-Rob. Actually, I think Cheryl's is winning this trade. Vladimir's already burned the Crimson Rush, so let's see. So I feel like Sarthal is having a much more comfortable game this time around, in that he is on an engaged support, something that can be a little more active and isn't as vulnerable to getting engaged on. Also, Zixu is on a more passive jungler, and he has, gotten 1 kill, burned the flash on the Janna off of another gang. So he's definitely setting up Vortex to be more successful. Even though Vortex did die, he does have two assists. So in terms of gold, he's probably pretty close to Misfortune.
Yeah, well, would be if it weren't for the kill. So the kill actually does make a bit of difference there, and also the fact that Yolpolina here is actually very good at farming on this champion.
Yes, that's true.
And
both games he's established a pretty solid CS lead. So, all right, Ornn once again goes for the Catalyst first. It's good sustain, but
I think it's not as punishing into the Poppy matchup, so...
Yeah, but Poppy's a very strong early tank. She just kind of falls off because
Speaking of the wall, there goes the wall. She tries to wall bang Ornn into his own pillar, but that doesn't work out, so it goes for the flash. Looks like she went for the ultimate. It was not enough. Ornn does escape with his life. Very close kill, though. Very close there to a kill, but it looks like Jarvan's hanging around at bot side. He actually probably could have got there in time to do something there with Ornn.
Looking at the itemization, Jarvan has once again gone for or I guess not once again, but J-Rob is also going for the Cinder Hulk, which I think makes sense. Particularly because Poppy, but one of her weaknesses is engage. It's not something she's great at. She can engage on one person with the wall stun, but her only AoE engage is like a flash. And so Jarvan and Rick are really gonna need to be their initiation, and having the Cinder Hulk is gonna help him a lot with that. See, so Jarvan's clearing out some wards in his bot jungle. He's looking for his blue buff, but I think Vlad may be coming to get the blue. No, it looks like Jarvan's just gonna clear it. So yeah, so Jarvan's established a pretty good CS lead on the Zac, about 12 CS, so 3 camps ahead. Now 1 more camp ahead, because Jarvan is just stronger early, better at farming than Zac, who's not really the strongest as far as junglers go in the early game, even by tank standards, to be honest. However, Mad Hacker is building a CS lead in mid here because he's Vladimir. He doesn't have to back. He has infinite sustain. I think Coach Tommy's looking for a wall stun here, but Harris does not appear interested in giving him the angle. And they're just going to be wave clearing, maybe poking and trading a little bit. Looks like Rakan is going to be going for the Zeeks first, which I think makes sense. It'll give him... Oh, stop just short of the dash.
Yep. However, that brittle proc is still quite useful. And here we go. She doesn't have the wall this time though, so or nope.
Oh, off target.
Yep. Looks like that was just a missed ult, just missing the direction on the ult there. There is a known bug. I don't know if it's been fixed yet, where if Orin clicks on like minimap while after he's dashed, there's a very real chance the ult goes in completely the wrong direction.
Yeah, it can sometimes.
But that's gonna be yeah. Poppy's probably gonna die here.
No, Ornn doesn't. He's got Conqueror, but instead of having Grass, like Grass might have made the kill there. He also was bopped by the Poppy Steadfast Presence. I think that if he doesn't get interrupted there with the dash and he just like tries to trade with autos in the queue, I think he would have gotten the kill, because notably he blocked the Poppy ult knockup with his W, during which he's unstoppable. And so Poppy didn't actually proc her Aftershock right away and didn't have those resists right away. See, one moment, folks. We're just going to resynchronize our stream here, make sure we're at the same point. All right, there we go. So, the bot lane is pushing in on the side of Mundolicious, which I think is a little bit dangerous because, okay, they've just backed. But like that was a dangerous position for them to be in. They didn't have ward coverage, but now they're ready for the dragon fight, given that dragon's coming up. And I'd say the two ADCs are pretty even. Misfortune has her Greaves, whereas Vortex has elected for Caulfield's Warhammer, so he'll have less attack speed, but he'll have more raw damage, and he'll have a little bit of CDR. Moby's on the Rakan, also the Glacial Shroud. Does Glacial Shroud build into Shirelia's Reverie? You would know, I'm not sure.
Glacial into Shirelia. No, Glacial does not build into Shirelia's. Shirelia's actually builds like
It's Forbidden Idol and Etherwisp, right?
Yeah, Shirelia's builds like Ardent.
Yeah,
so.
Okay, yeah. So
Glacial Shroud, if you're doing Glacial on Rakan, I think you're more likely to be building into Zeeks.
Yeah, I would assume it's a Zeeks here.
So Moonlight Vigil does come out, by the way, and it's a lot of damage that goes down.
They force the Janna ult, the Janna flash as well, so all of the sums down except for the Janna ignite.
It is, however, a disengage, or not disengage. There will be a disengage from the Janna, but it's also going to be an Infernal Rift that comes out as well. The Infernal Soul, a little scary, and it favors the team that has less escapes.
Yes, I think
and less dashes.
In terms of damage, I'd say it's pretty even. The scaling on both teams is quite good. Maybe a slight edge to Clout 7, because I feel like I would consider Aphelios a better late game scaler than Misfortune. But Victor and Vladimir both very strong late game. Both will really benefit from the raw AP and the extra damage that they get out of the Infernal Soul, if of course either team is able to secure it. So it's even out a little bit. It's only about an 11 CS lead in the support position. Yeah, CS is pretty much overall even, except for leads in top and jungle. And I think those make sense given the matchups that both teams are in. Jarvan has completed his Cinder Hulk. Zach has not yet completed his Cinder, but this time J-Rob did build boots. He's got his Mercury Treads, so Jarvan's probably going to be tankier at this point than the Zac is, and he should look to try to force fight. And it looks like he might be trying to play around Rift Herald, which I think is a good play here. Dragon's down. There's no other objective, and you're ahead of the enemy jungler. Are you? He's 2 levels up. He should absolutely be looking to force Rift Herald here because Zac is unlikely to be able to outsmite him.
Turret plating goes down with, well, no turrets taken, but a couple of plates, no real plates either. So that gold opportunity looks like it's been missed by either side here as the lanes are kind of just bouncing back and forth. More trade going in here. Poppy's W goes up, trying to stop the dashes. Orin does take a lot of damage there from that percent health, and he goes away.
He could have made an effort. I think he could have tried to take the fight there with. Oh, Zac's gank him.
Orin does go in. That's a good ult from Misfortune, as it's not going to be enough. Sarthal goes down. It's now for Philius. He's forced to flash. He's forced to use Severum, and he backs away alive for now.
Sarthal tries. Oh, there we go. We are seeing the future, ladies and gentlemen. Give us a moment to reset the stream and make sure that we are at the correct point. There we go. We're on track now, I promise. The taco train's back on the tracks. So Sarthal goes in there trying to interrupt the Misfortune bullet time, but the Grand Entrance comes up a little bit short, and he just ends up taking a ton of damage for it and does go down there. Gives over 300 gold, and I don't know if they're going to be able to get this tower.
No, they give up turret here.
Yeah, I believe so. But Jarvan did take the Rift Herald, has summoned it top lane.
So they're going to be a little slow here, but it's going to be advantage over here to Mundolicious for the faster turret and
Jarvan. So they got the charge off, but they must not have had a big mini wave, and they are unable to take out the entire turret.
Yeah, and Poppy also took quite a chunk as well during that phase. Orin does stop the back, so
Orin
Poppy's
has
now
his ult here. Like, he could absolutely look to fight.
Especially since Jarvan's not there. So Orin right now, like, Poppy's not necessarily lethal, but it's going to hurt.
Yeah,
if he really wants to go for it.
I want to talk again about the Conqueror. I'm not a huge fan of the Conqueror just because Orin really doesn't actually benefit that much from Adaptive Force. He has AD scaling on his Q and AP scaling on his R, but W scales, the Brittle proc scales off your overall level, the Fire Breath damage scales off the spell level, and the charge damage scales off of your armor and MR. So, like, he really doesn't, and he's not like an auto attacker who's going to slap you to death with like AD hits. So I don't know. I don't feel like that scaling AD is hugely valuable, and the healing, I don't know. We'll have to see. It seems to be working okay for him so far, but I think he could have gotten very similar results in terms of trading damage and sustained by taking Grasp. Interestingly, Coach Tommy has elected for first item Gargoyle Stoneplate on Poppy, which is an item that gives it gives bursts of incredible tankiness. It makes you tankier than like anything else for like 3 to 4 seconds. After which it only gives you, like 40 to 6. It gives you a good amount of resist, but nothing else. I generally prefer other items because I like the other tank items' effects, that they're more constant and that they tend to come with CDR, which Gargoyle Stoneplate does not. But it suggests that he wants to really be frontlining and absorbing damage using that brief period of 100%.
Okay, Clout 7's going to try to take this Drake here, by the way, but
what are you? He's out of position.
Yeah, he goes for the flank, doesn't quite get it. However, that's a lot of
That's
a little bit of a cluster here. Sarthal does go down to Misfortune. Jarvan will probably go down here as well. Vladimir gets a shutdown, so no, Jarvan's alive. Double kill over the Vladimir, so that's a little bit of a botched team fight there.
Yeah, that's a 4-for-1. So I think what happens is Cheryl's is trying to flank, but gets caught in their jungle, so they don't have their Victor and all of his damage. And then they all get trapped in the Jarvan ult, followed up by the Vladimir ult. Poppy flashes in and puts up the Steadfast Presence, so Ornn is not able to get the second half of his ult, and that huge team fight isn't there. Misfortune gets her ult off, but she's still trapped in there with the Jarvan, the Vlad, and all of that damage, and she goes down. So that's going to be the third dragon, the first Infernal, going over to Clout 7. Vortex is very low there.
Yeah, probably want to back off. You may be a very powerful AD carry, but if you're still low HP, you're low HP, and anyone can pop you.
Yep, Vladimir went for first item Spellbinder.
Yeah, Softball goes in, goes out, doesn't get punished quite that hard for it, but it's just going to be a quick dissuasion from attacking there. However, now Mundolicious is grouped up mid, and they have a pretty good push here, so there's actually a very reasonable threat on their side for this.
And they still haven't lost their top tower, so they are ahead in terms of towers overall. They will get the second, but it is still about a 2k gold lead to Cloud 7 because of the extra kills they've been able to accrue. And notably, a lot of that gold is on the Vladimir, who is a very threatening hyper-scaling mage. I once heard him described as like the mage vein, because his early is kind of weak, but in the late game, he'll just blow up your entire team while being untargetable. Oh, Poppy's giving the smack to Oya Polina.
Yeah, a little bit caught out there. Does get knocked away by the Janna ult. That's from good healing as well. Yeah, they're not going to push that much further than that little engagement, but that is a lot of damage coming from a tank.
Yeah, Poppy's just too tanky at this point for them to really kill. One thing I'm noticing on the side of Mundolicious is, again, not much anti-heal. Like we mentioned earlier, all they have is the ignite off of the Janna, so they don't really have a way to contain the Vladimir in a team fight. Zach's building Warmog's armor, so he doesn't have his Thornmail, and Victor is going to need. He's already got his perfect hex core, and then he's going to need his Ludens. So it's going to be 3 items before he gets his Morello. And Misfortune doesn't have Executioner's Callings. I'd like to see her pick one up, because otherwise they're not really going to be able to kill this Vladimir.
Yeah, it looks like we're just we're settling down now, so we're going to go into a little bit of a lull state between fights. We do have Baron up right now, and next Infernal Drake is up in 2 minutes.
Yeah, but this is kind of the point where neither team comp is going to do Baron fast enough yet to really want to threaten it. And Dragon's still down. So as you mentioned, it's a bit of a lull. There's no real objectives to fight for. And neither team is really in a position to like siege towers. So they're just going to collect some farm. It's a grouping on the bot side. They may be trying to go for this bot lane tower. Janna's rotating down as well. She does have mobility boots alongside her recon, so she's plenty speedy.
Yeah, Janna definitely becomes one of the fastest champions in the game when she actually has all of her stuff up.
I always like switchies on Janna.
Yeah, she does build Ardent first, so which is interesting. That's a lot of damage going down onto Vladimir. He actually, I do not think he survives this. Yeah, he tries to go and use Hemoplague down, but it's not enough. So they do try to kill for a turret, but it is a shutdown onto the.
That was 700 gold on Misfortune, who notably has all of Mundolicious' kills. Oya Polina is very much putting on keeping his carry pants on tight.
Ooh, that was a flash. Yeah, flash ult here, but yeah, he is able to do that this time. That's just showing you how ridiculous Aphelios can be. However, the thing to note there is Misfortune had basically no HP when Vortex did that.
That's true.
Like, if Misfortune has even half HP, I think Vortex actually loses that fight.
If he sits in the Misfortune ult, I don't know if she would win in the 1v1 auto attack, because he had Severum up for the sustain and the rapid fire. So, yeah, I don't think Mad Hacker needed to do the flash ult there. With how low he was, once he came out of the pool, he was dead anyways. So sometimes it's better to just accept your death. Step 1, accepting your death, and not burn the resources so that you have them later. That, as I say, that his ult is almost up again. He has 30% CDR, but the flash will be a longer cooldown. So
Poppy actually takes a fair chunk of damage given what she is. There we go, fast presence stopping it. Ornn, however, able to get the Horner up. There we go. Victor kills Sarthal. Almost have a couple more kills going down here. Poppy just trying to hunt down this Misfortune, but she's just sitting there free hitting onto her.
But Vladimir is getting so much damage off. He does go
Yeah,
down.
there we go. Yeah, Vortex goes down on the field as Vladimir goes down as well. That's another kill. It goes down. Poppy dies to Vladimir, so that's actually going to be not an ace. Jarvan is still alive. Jarvan smartly backed away, but that Infernal Drake is up, and there's more members of Mundolicious alive than there are of you.
Yeah, Jarvan's about to have his smite back up. He looks like he used his first charge, but the second's still available, so he could come in here, but I don't think he's going to contest it. They're pretty low,
No.
but Janna shields, yeah, they're going to even the drag score up at 2-2.
Yeah, they're not going to risk that one. So it's going to be at least 10 minutes now before next Drake Soul. At most 20 minutes, let's, or 15 minutes, assuming they trade souls. Let's hope not, or trade dragons.
So
Those are fun solo games. We're in for a long haul at this point.
yeah, I think we're for long haul. So looking at itemization, Ornn has completed both of his upgrades. The Infernal Mask and the Forged Fire Cape. Okay, Misfortune Oiplina does have anti-heal. He now has the Executioner's Calling, which is good because Victor just finished his Lichbane, so it will still be a while before he can get his Morellonomicon, if indeed that's what he's building for next. I could also see a Banshees, not a Zombies. You don't need a Blasting Wand for Zombies, but there's any number of items he could build there. They're gonna catch on the
Jarvan. Yeah, Jarvan's pretty close to caught out there.
I think Ornn should call the ult here. He should use the ult, try to pick off the Poppy.
Might be worth it. She doesn't have the ability to stop this, and Jarvan has to back away. So
she's gonna ult the Zac, but
that doesn't matter. That's a good knock-up. That's a good bullet time as well. It finally gets stopped, but Poppy's just gonna eventually go down as Polina actually grabs that really easily. Gets the dank double kill. Ooh, but the Ornn ult misses, but that's not going to be enough from Clout 7 to stop this. They're gonna run this turret right at it, and they actually may be able to grab it with what they have here.
Yeah, they're looking to chase onto Rakan. He's gonna grand entrance.
Janna tanks for a little bit, but that's just enough to get the turret down.
Vladimir's pushing in mid. Victor's clearing out the bot lane, so neither mid lane is really present. They should just finish up this wave. Checking, looks like nothing. No camps up the top lane. Oh wait, the red buff on Cloud 7 is up, so they should give that over to Oya Polina, which it looks like they're going to do. So that's a really good push from Mundolicious. So they've basically evened the gold up. They're only a few hundred down, which divided by 5 people basically means nothing. It's like a few wards basically is the difference between the two teams. However,
it's the difference between Jarvan, basically.
Yeah. However, noticeably, Vladimir has completed his death cap. He didn't go for Proto Belt. He didn't go for Zonius. He didn't go for the utility items. He's gone pure raw damage. If he Spellbinders in and gets an ult combo off on someone, anyone that's not Zac or Ornn is dead, 100%. And then he'll be untargetable the whole time he does it.
Yeah. Of course, the problem for Vladimir at this point is actually getting in.
Yes.
Which looks like he's going to actually get burned down. He is forced to flash and pool.
Yeah, so that's a pretty significant cooldown because he would need the flash to really get into the backline there. So that's going to buy them a couple minutes before that big diving Vladimir threat is available.
Which looks like that's definitely more than enough here. And it looks like sieging going down in the...
Looks like they're going to try to run down they're going to try to pick off the Poppy again. Coach Tommy, he's been split pushing a lot, and yet while he is capable of 1v1ing in the split push, the issue
you can't 1v4.
Yeah, the issue is that he's just getting rotated on. They're gonna call the Ornn ult, and
that does come out. It actually hits 2 people because of the Jarvan getting in the background.
Yeah, that's just the bouncy castle. Victor's gonna TP into mid lane to try to save that turret. He doesn't save the turret, but he does dissuade a further push.
And now they wait. Look,
yep.
As both sides kind of just fall back a little bit, catch their breath, catch some farm, wait kind of to see what comes up here. That next Infernal Drake is up in a minute, so that's really going to be kind of the next point of contest between these two teams. Neither side really seems too interested in Baron. There's not even any vision control really for either side in that region of the map.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that given the team comp on Cloud 7 on Mundolicious, they're not going to do it very fast. Misfortune not the fastest ADC at taking Baron. Victor's got decent sustained damage, but like Zac and Ornn are going to kind of slap fight the Baron, and Janna isn't going to do very much. So they don't have a fast Baron take. The Baron take on Clout 7 is fast if Aphelios has the right combination of guns and he is freely able to do it. But given that things are pretty even, they probably don't.
Vladimir a little bit caught out here. Is forced to pull
Call
again.
Call the ult. No. Pause around the dragon. Poppy is topside, but she has her TP. But I think she needs to. Okay, she's TPing in now. Yeah, she can't wait for them to start dragon. So Poppy's here. Has 3 items. Has a lot of health.
It is 5 versus 5. Poppy is potentially very damaging here, or very dangerous when she gets in. Vladimir is half health, and there we go. We're going to start off with the Ornn Horn. Gets down onto the Aphelios, actually. So
that's a very good keeper's verdict. 3 of the two Cheryls and Zixu are ulted out of the fight.
So Vortex almost dies to Zac, by the way.
But he does trade it back. That's a really
while
good
the fight is going
time.
on. That's a shutdown onto Jarvan, so that's some extra gold there. Sarthol's going to die here to Victor as the double kill goes down onto Vortex, then the triple kill, and then Misfortune.
That's a cleanup. I
For
think
the clean that's an ace. That's not quite a clean ace. They do lose their jungler in the process, but they lost their jungler while he was doing his job there, keeping Vortex from doing Aphelios things.
If the tank is doing his job right, by the time we're pushing, he should probably be dead. It starts out looking like a really good fight for Clout 7 in that Poppy ults the Janna, so the safety button, and Victor half of the damage of Mundolicious out of the fight. So they're able to then focus in a 5v3 on the remainder of Mundolicious. But the problem is that Zac gets into the back line, and Aphelios is so busy trying to not get squashed by the Zac and trying to gun down this tanky blob man that he's not actually putting damage out into the rest of the team. And the people who are trying to dive onto Mundolicious' backline, Sarthal and J-Rob, get evaporated by a Misfortune bullet time, even though they have a decent amount of armor. And so by the time that Cheryl's and Zixu are already there, are back, a lot of the initiation and engage from Cloud 7 is already down. Like, they don't have the Rakan ult anymore, they don't have the Jarvan ult anymore, and then Victor just kind of cleans up and he takes a couple kills. He's got his death cap now.
Yeah, looks like we're once more into that little bit of a lull period here as they wait for their next objective. Looks like, I mean, they could wait for Dragon, they could wait the 5 minutes, but they could also just try to force Baron.
Poppy,
I think Mundolicious is strong enough. That's very dangerous for Poppy to be there.
Okay.
She does get out because the Ornn ult doesn't connect, and she manages to knock Zac away, but her ult is gone.
Her W is
and
down.
Yeah, she's not going to be able to stop this.
Yeah,
so W goes back up, but Yolpolina actually grabs the kill anyway, because Misfortune is just at that point in the game where she's strong.
Yeah,
3.5 items on her, and healing reduction, armor pen, lots of crit, and the Ornn infant Ornn upgraded to Molten Edge.
Yeah, and I don't think Poppy shouldn't be there.
Like, yeah, and Horus is actually just straight up zoning.
Oh,
he gets stopped.
Phenomenal tornado out of Zixu.
Yeah, and the Baron goes down now.
Yep. Vlad's split pushing, but
yeah, Vlad needs to run. Vlad needs to back. Like now, you're not gonna win it. You're not gonna win a base race against Baron. You need to back now.
Yeah, and they need you to team fight. He won't be able to wave clear very well, but like, yeah, I don't like the Poppy being there. Poppy can be a strong split pusher into certain champs that she's good into.
Okay, so Vortex tries to start a fight, but Yolpolina just deletes him. We're moved from the game for the time being. As
Moonlight
Poppy
Vigil
goes in,
it's a vigil at his funeral.
Yeah, Vladimir also goes down as there's just not much healing. The redemption then goes in. That's a Janna redemption, so that is a lot of heals back. Double kill comes in for Misfortune. It's Poppy's just not able to do anything. Yes, Vladimir is low, but there really isn't much you can do. The shielding comes through instead, and yeah, so close yet so far as Vladimir deletes Jarvan off the face of the earth.
Yeah,
Ace
we have
coming in as Rakan dies, and that's going to be the Nexus killed for 2-0 in favor of Mundolicious.
That's a 15-4 misfortune. So you know that the meme with like the guys dancing while carrying the casket? Basically, Oya Polina was just doing that on his own. He's carrying the whole casket for Clout 7. Like, once again, I think Mundolicious shows strong drafting and strong execution of strong fundamentals of League of Legends. Strong team fighting, good drafting of lanes, good engage, good disengage, good AOE, and it's League One team fighting 101, but it works, and it works in 2 games. So Mundolicious starts their season off 2-0, looking really good, and I'm gonna be interested to see how Cloud 7 adapt in the future. I think that there were a lot of good points for them, particularly their early games looked quite strong. But I think that their transition into mid and late game is going to take some more work. But I'm excited to see what more Noxus Division games have. And I think I'm about to be hooked off of the screen because we do have a live game coming up. So I'm going to stop talking, let us transition to that, and have a good night, everyone.